Hey guys, City here, and welcome to the very first video ever on this new channel. Most, if not all of you, know me from my previous channel, but just in case if this is your first time hearing about me, hello, I'm City of Matchups, and I invite you to the next chapter of my life. Previously, my name was City of Edits, and for about 2.5 years, I made versus edits almost every day. Although, I've always wanted to branch out and do long-form content, and hopefully eventually have a career in it. But that is ways away. Before I say anything else, I just want to say thank you, because despite the channel not having any videos, we already have over 1,300 subscribers. Thank you guys, it means the absolute world to me. And last thing before we get into the matchup, which should be in the title, is that this will be a battle analysis video, not a power scaling video. So with all that being said, let's get into what you're really here for, and what you saw in that thumbnail. Could 100 of Peter Jackson's King Kongs actually defeat one 2017 Skull Island Kong? So similar to what I did before on my previous channel, we will be breaking this down into categories to help us determine who comes out on top. We will be covering strength and power, speed and agility, durability and endurance, and IQ and battle IQ. And anything else that would help, we will probably mention. We will start off with 2017 Kong, and then go to the 100 King Kongs, and then go on from there. So, strength and power. For just raw strength alone, 2017 Kong was able to catch whole military helicopters out of the air, and even use one as more or less a baseball bat. He's able to completely dismantle the Mire Squid, and with just one stomp to the head, was able to crush it like it was nothing. But his most impressive feat of strength has to be him being able to lift and to wrestle with Remorak, or otherwise known as the Skull Devil. Now, Remorak's weight has been highly debated before, but it has been stated that Skullcrawlers can get up to 100 tons. And given that Kong was confirmed to be 158 tons, and Remorak should be a good bit lighter than him, I would say 100 tons is a fair assumption for her. So for Kong's strength, at the bare minimum, he's able to lift and to swing around 100 tons. And given that he was doing this fairly easily, he can definitely do more. Now onto Kong's power. For this stat, we will again have to look at his fight with Remorak, since all of his good feats come from there. In his fight, he does have a few moments that stand out, like him elbowing the side of a mountain and smacking Remorak against said mountain, both times cracking a good portion of it. Although, both definitely do not stack up to him being able to lift and to smash a massive boulder against Remorak's head, shattering it like it's glass. A feat that the 100 King Kongs would definitely have trouble replicating. And with that being said, let's move on to the 100 King Kongs. Now for these King Kongs, we will have to measure their stats a little differently, since we will not be trying to figure out how strong one exactly is, but trying to figure out how strong 100 are, then placing them into a battle setting with 2017 Kong, and seeing how effective each particular point would be if they were all just to gang up on him. But remember that having 100 of the same opponents is not the same as just taking that one opponent and just multiplying their stats by 100. But as always, let's start off with strength. 2005 King Kong does boast some pretty fairly decent showings of strength, like being able to topple over a small hut made of stone, and being able to push and throw a whole trolley. This trolley coming in around 19 to 20 tons. But since there does seem to be a fair amount of people in it, we can definitely say it weighs a little more. But similar to 2017 Kong, King Kong's best strength feat comes from the fact that he's almost able to effortlessly toss his heavy opponents around, that being the V-Rexes. Now from what I can find, the weight of the V-Rexes has actually never been officially confirmed, but the most common agreed upon weight for them is about 15 to 20 tons. So yeah, pretty hefty. Now onto these King Kong's power. Now this is a stat that King Kong is actually surprisingly lacking in, since we don't actually see many feats of him actually piercing things, but more of just using his raw strength, such as the previous stone hut feat. But regardless, he is not featless in this category, such as him being able to bust through a building made of windows, bricks, and cement with absolutely no injuries. And also him being able to whack Curtis F-8C Helldivers straight out of the air with seemingly no struggle. But unfortunately for King Kong, this is kind of where it ends. He did punch and kick around the V-Rexes multiple times, although you can clearly see it wasn't doing too much. It was only when he started to use his raw strength that he was actually able to kill them, such as lifting the boulder to drop on the first V-Rex's head, and again using his raw strength to once again pull back the other V-Rex's jaw and snap it, killing it. And for the final V-Rex, unfortunately for that one, though we did see King Kong smacking its head, it did die off screen, so we can't say for certain if it was just King Kong's raw power. So with all that being said, who gets strength and power? Well, both of these categories, I'm actually going to have to give them to 2017 Kong. The main reasons being that even though all of the 100 King Kongs put together could probably lift more, we do have to remember that having 100 of the same opponent is just not the same as taking that opponent and multiplying their stats by 100. If that was the case, this fight would be an absolute stomp for the 100 King Kongs. The only way I could see 100 King Kong's strength matching up to 2017's strength is if they all got into a 10x10 formation and 2017 Kong would just lay on them, allowing them to lift him. But obviously that is not going to happen, as 2017 Kong would definitely be trying to swing and crush them with every opportunity he gets. So to sum it up, 2017 Kong's strength will just be more effective in this fight. And for power, I just don't really see anything that the 100 King Kongs could actually do that would even come close to 2017 Kong's boulder feat. Now into speed and agility. Now, one of these stats we can actually answer right off the bat, that being agility. Even though 2017 Kong is a little bit underrated in this category, he just has absolutely nothing on the smaller, more loose King Kongs, who have literally been shown to flip and roll with ease. So agility easily goes to the 100 King Kongs. Now to overall speed. This stat is a little interesting. While 2017 Kong would definitely be faster due to him having a longer stride and an overall longer body, I can actually see a way that the 100 King Kongs could actually possibly take this point. And that's because of their pure numbers, meaning that they can have more effectiveness in terms of speed. For example, let's say you have a human who can do things like run and jump at the speed of around 15 miles per hour. And then you have a small dog who can perform at a speed of around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now, naturally a human would be faster, but if you were to have 100 of these dogs and have them attack the human, all of their speed combined would definitely be more effective than just one human with their speed. So just on pure effectiveness of their speed, I will actually have to give this one to the 100 King Kongs. Now to IQ and battle IQ. Given we are talking about apes here, both parties have actually shown some pretty high levels of intelligence. 2017 Kong's best showing of IQ and battle IQ would definitely stem from him being able to adapt to fighting Ramarak. While fighting her, he was able to use the environment surrounding him to his advantage, and even using man-made things, such as when he used a ship propeller to slice and pull Ramarak to him, then used the chain attached to it to further choke her. So yeah, in terms of battle IQ and IQ, he is actually pretty solid. However, he does have his work cut out for him, because these King Kongs are no pushovers when it comes to IQ and battle IQ either. For just pure intelligence alone, King Kong was able to understand sign language, a feat that only adult Kong was able to match. And for battle intelligence, not only did he put on a masterclass of a performance against the V-Rexes, but he is also known as the strongest thing on Skull Island. And for him to get this label, he would have definitely had to go through multiple upon multiple battles. And other than his jaw being a little screwed up, he has stayed intact throughout all of them. With all that being said, because one King Kong already performed a better intelligence feat than 2017 Kong, I would definitely have to give IQ to the 100 King Kongs. And as for battle intelligence, even though it is one brain against 100 brains, I would actually have to give this point to 2017 Kong, based on the fact that he not only took down stronger opponents, but also took down more variety of opponents, and in my opinion, just showed a little bit more strategy. Now onto the final two stats, durability and endurance. And before I say anything else, I do want to mention that I usually go over abilities as well, but since we are talking about just apes here, and that everybody we're talking about is just meat and bone, we won't have to do that. But in the future, if need be, we will cover abilities. But moving on, like agility, one of these points can actually be answered right off the bat, that being durability. 2017 Kong absolutely steals this category, with really the only thing piercing him being whole helicopter blades. The King Kongs, on the other hand, are definitely lacking in this category, shown by how they can get heavily wounded by early military fire, but also shown by that a single harpoon can pierce them very easily. But now onto endurance. And before I get into this, if you are wondering what the difference between durability and endurance is, durability is how much you can take without getting pierced or knocked out. Endurance is how much damage you can actually take and still keep going forward, despite maybe even bleeding or being heavily sliced into. But now to who actually takes this stat. 2017 Kong fought through getting his hand and arm sliced open, and was even able to use the same arm to further take down more opponents. He also fought pretty well against Ramarak, despite her literally clamping down on his neck. And he was also able to fight while she had her whole entire tail wrapped around him. And finally, he was able to bounce back from being nearly suffocated by the humans and only having minor injuries. The 100 King Kongs, on the other hand, we'll probably have to rely on a different type of endurance, that being whenever 2017 Kong kills one, another one would take its place, and try to pick off where the other one left off. But because these King Kongs are just so vulnerable to heavy attacks, and have shown that minor piercing shots could actually be very devastating to them, endurance will have to go to 2017 Kong. So, we've reached the end of the category breakdown with a score of 5-3, with the 100 King Kongs taking speed, agility, and IQ, and 2017 Kong taking power, strength, durability, endurance, and battle IQ. Now, just because somebody has more points than you doesn't exactly mean they win every time, but in this case, I will actually have to agree and say that 2017 Kong would actually win this fight. And the main two reasons being the power difference and also the superior experience factor. And what I mean by that is that 2005 King Kong has never actually fought somebody like 2017 Kong, and has never been shown to actually work well in a team because there's only one of them on Skull Island, even if that team is made up of him. Where 2017 Kong was actually shown that he can actually handle more than one small opponent at one time, that being the Skull Crawlers. Not only are they similar in size to 2005 King Kong, but they actually have shown that they can hunt in packs, and will so if they need to, and 2017 Kong absolutely dismantled him despite them having more numbers. And as for the power difference, unfortunately for the 100 King Kongs, their attacks would be almost useless, as none of their punches, kicks, or even bites wouldn't do that much damage at all. And honestly, with some good stomps and some good ground pounds, I can see 2017 Kong absolutely annihilating most of them right off the bat. So with around mid difficulty, your official winner is 2017 Skull Island Kong.